but this is not the time. Mr. Gibson, continue.
Take dexclorazole, and you will do your job better, play harder, and feel more than you ever have straight. It's Prozac, with the volume at 1,000.
He still thinks he's selling trainers.
There will be divisions within companies and amongst the medical profession. And the key issue is, why are we developing products for recreational purposes rather than products which cure people of diseases? Eventually, the commercial area will win out. Very simply, this is a consumer-driven marketplace where customers want the product.
When drugs are legalised, an organisation like Off-Drug could oversee the regulatory framework from production through to use. So they'd look after the growers, for instance, and pharmaceutical producers.
Commissioner?
Miss Parker, have a seat.
Make sure that people selling drugs and premises where people were using drugs were licensed correctly, that the prices were set at the right levels, and that safer use warnings and ingredients listings were on the packaging.
Tanya Williams was pronounced dead on arrival. Josie Mills is in a coma. Santa Clegg is in intensive care. All suffered acute respiratory trauma. So far, nothing indicates it was caused by illegals, so it falls into our lab.
A body like Off-Drug would also have an investigative arm to help police this new industry, particularly at the supply manufacturing ends.
It's essential we rule out any possibility of this being a drug we license.
And if it is one?
Due to the criminal nature of this investigation, we're going to be cooperating with the National Crime Bureau. You'll be working with Detective Jack Rydell.
Since when do drug officers transfer to the NCB?
Since legalization, half the size of that department. Rydell's been on the force 8 years. His street IQ's unsurpassed. He's been down deep and dirty. But, he's got a reputation. 6 years ago, his cover was compromised during a narcotics operation. Off the record, I think he's damaged goods.
Prohibition has gifted the entire drugs market to organised criminals. The profit margins are so huge that you'd be a fool not to operate in it.
Hello, I love you, won't you tell me your name?
Any professional criminal who's making good money is involved in the drugs trade. It's estimated that it's the third largest business in the world, and the other two in competition for the top place are the oil business and the arms trade. And the whole business is run by criminals. It's an absurd failure of policy on a global scale.
The price of drugs is determined by the illegal market, by organised criminals and unregulated dealers. Consequently, the price is incredibly high. Someone with a £50 a day habit is likely to have to resort to crime to support that. Legalisation enables us to control the price in such a way that those people don't have to steal.
You got it?
Lots of it.
Oh! 60-40 tomorrow.
Profit margins are anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000%, and that's unheard of in any other commodity on the planet.
If drugs were legalised, the markup may go down to sort of 200 to 300% rather than 2,000 to 3,000%, so the price would drop very dramatically. Because people will no longer be taking the same level of risk in actually transporting it across national boundaries and then, once it's in the country, distributing it.
Oh yeah, Mark, this is Jack. Jack? Mark. Jack's all right. He's my new friend.
Just so long as he's all right.
I don't think we can legalise drugs. As a doctor, I see people coming in to our department with all kinds of drug-related problems of their heart, their lung, their brain, on a daily basis. It will take a number of years before the real long-term burden of drugs on physical and mental health becomes apparent.
There's a pill.
Who gave it to you?
Tracy. She's given it to try out.
Try out?
And so are you.
Does trying out happen a lot?
A pill is handed to you that your mate's been given. You don't know where it came from or what it is, but you drop it like it's a Smartie. It's brilliant.
Lobby are citing this tragedy as evidence of the policy's failure.
This tragedy proves the government's got it wrong. Drug legalization is a disaster.
I used to work the graveyard beat around here.
Must be a lot safer since legalization.
Must be.
Why did you quit the drug squad?
Been doing your homework?
I like to know who I'm working with.
I did 2 years undercover and 6 months in rehab. I got rewarded with a desk instead of a street. So I quit.
If drugs were legalised, I worry about the message that would send out. It would give a message to children and young people that drugs are okay, and drugs are not okay. They're not okay for the individual, and they're not okay for their families.
And in breaking news, Off-Drug has said it will use all its power to find the source of the drug that resulted in last week's club tragedy. The pharmaceutical industry has denied allegations that it's more interested in profit than in people. It's accused Off-Drug of being on a witch hunt.
Dr. Kajir, you wanted to see me.
But an insider from Omuta Farm has told our programme that it's actually the recreational division that's driving company sales.
Your recreational department is supposed to be part of Omuta's background, not newspaper headlines.
And your scientists should respect the confidentiality agreements.
The revenue you generate is only beneficial if it doesn't destroy our reputation.
Either we adapt our drugs or somebody else will. People do drugs. Nothing's going to change that. We provide safe, tested, licensed products. We're the good guys.
I wonder sometimes exactly what methods the good guys are using.
There are severe concerns amongst a lot of people about the ethics and business practices of pharmaceutical companies in particular.
Pharmaceutical companies will develop a stealth strategy to manage the problem of ethics and morals within the industry. They will create companies which they will manage at arm's length, which they own, which will then produce the products, the recreational drugs, but they will not suffer from public censure because they are not connected to the main company.
Alcohol, tobacco, cannabis, heroin, cocaine, they're all dangerous. Does anybody think that alcohol was made safer during Prohibition in the United States? Of course it wasn't. So there's all sorts of danger associated with the fact that drugs are illegal. You get impurities, you get substitutes.